Howdy folks, I'm Dusty Dunes daringly dancing during dry desert lake drafts.
I'm Amber.
And here are more dances that we can do with our sand and stuff like that. It's swirly, so let's get started. And folks, I just want to remind you that we will not be doing episodes next week. So Monday through Friday, and of course we aren't doing the weekend either, so we are just taking a little bit of a break until the 17th when we will return. So we're looking forward to seeing you after that. But just a reminder, we will have episodes until the end of the week. Let's get started. Alright folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Pranking My Fiance Back? Hi Reddit, help please. Throwaway account. I'm a 34-year-old male, and my fiance is a 31-year-old female, and we'll call her Becca. For some context, Becca and I have dated for 3 years, and have been engaged for 5 months. About 2 months ago, Becca was laid off, and since I've been working extra hours to support us and pay for our wedding in 3 months. Becca's always been quirky and a bit of a prankster, which I've always adored about her. But recently her pranks have become extreme. I don't know if she's just bored for losing her job or if it's something deeper about her character, but she has just been waking me up in the middle of the night. I'll get up each morning at 4:30 for a 12-hour shift of hard labor, and so the value of sleep is an understatement. Examples of how I've been forced into sleep deprivation? Well, she'll kneel on my side of the bed and scream, "Hello," directly into my ear. She started blaring death metal. She stuck so many lemons in my mouth, she basically waterboarded me multiple times. She even set fire alarms. When I ran out of the bedroom, she was in the kitchen laughing at me as she recorded my reaction. I talked to her about waking me up, but she laughs it off. It's pushing my boundaries, but I really love her. Last week, I was serious when I told her that if she didn't stop, she would regret it. 2 days later, she faked a burglary. I was done. Looking back, I probably wasn't thinking clearly, but I had to follow through on my warning. Yesterday, I made a day of pranks. I'm close with a bro, so in the morning, he called to tell me that their family dog that she loved growing up died. My buddy has a tow truck and I had him tow her car. I did not know that she had an interview that day, though. She missed it, and I connected with her Find My Phone. And I don't want to be responsible for anyone doing this, so I won't share steps, but I locked her out of her phone. You can display a message on the lock screen, so I put a prank number to call that puts you on hold immediately, hoping that she would use someone else's phone. If not, it would still be funny because she couldn't call the number herself. Apparently, in desperation to try to fix her phone, she borrowed our neighbor's. Her and our neighbors do not get along well. She sat on hold for over an hour till they said enough and kicked her out. When I came home from work, she was a mess, but getting home and telling her right away was my plan, giving her time to enjoy the night after that, so I told her I lost my job and we had to cancel the wedding. I've never seen her cry like that, and I told her that it was all a prank, that her brother was in on it, and that their dog Patsy is still alive. Her car is fine, and I locked her phone, and I could unlock it right then. She told me about the job interview that she had missed, and her experience with a neighbor. She couldn't believe that I would even joke about losing my job and canceling the wedding. I apologized, but she is so angry. She said that I should have known when too much is too much. But haven't I been telling her that it's too much for weeks now? I explicitly told her to stop, and she didn't. I warned her. She turned it up a notch instead. Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think?
Everyone is in the wrong here. I mean, I would say break up, but honestly, it might be best for you two to stay together because you kind of deserve each other. Pranks are only funny when everyone is laughing. What she was doing to you is not a prank. It's bullying, harassment, whatever you want to call it.
Torture? Abuse?
Abuse, yeah. What you did to her is also not a prank. It is cruel, callous, and heartless to tell someone their childhood pet died, and then also all the other stuff on top of that was just extra layers of awfulness.
Yeah. Well, mutual abuse is still abuse. Plain and simple. I mean, they were both abusive to each other, and I mean, two wrongs don't make a right, and I think he was trying to get her back, but this was still not a good approach. If he wanted to get her to stop doing this, then he should have broke things off with her, right? He should have said, look, if you wake me up again and it's not an actual real emergency, then I'm going to break up with you. Plain and simple. And if she did it again, then OP could have broken up with her in good conscience, right? And what he did here wasn't really pranks, like Amber said. This wasn't funny to everybody. She missed a job interview. She had to sit around all day thinking about that her pet died. There's just so many things here that were pretty terrible. Not that like waking OP up in the middle of the night every night isn't terrible. It
Right.
is, right? But what OP did, I think, was also bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
I really think that they need couples therapy if they plan on staying together, right? Because this is not a healthy way of communicating, and this is not a healthy way of handling the relationship, right? They should be working together with each other, not, trying to bury each other like this.
Yeah.
But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Taking My Coworkers' Knowledge When They Didn't Want to Come to My Wedding? So I've worked in this place for about 7 years until last year. When I arrived, it was really hard to know how to do all of the procedures because they were all very hard to understand, and the other coworkers didn't want to share their notes. So I decided to make my own notes in Google Drive with the idea of sharing them with future coworkers so they won't have to go through the same pain that I did. Well, it went extremely well, great notes that all of them enjoyed for free, and the work went smoother. I just asked them to upload any new notes or changes that they thought might be beneficial. They did neither. Last year, I changed my job inside the same company for the best, and I was gloomy about not seeing them as much as before. So I kept the Drive file open for any new people that came along and the old ones to read and modify. They never did the latter though. I also got engaged last year and invited them all to my wedding. Suddenly everyone had excuses, very poor excuses. I invited 25 of them and only 5, my closest friends, were excited and wanted to come. They didn't need my notes. I felt betrayed. Since I left my old job, I haven't seen them as often, but I worked with them for 7 years. I thought it meant something, so last Friday I denied them access to the Drive. Today, Monday, they are panicking and asking to access the file with all the data. I haven't responded to a single message, and I don't plan to in the future. Am I doing the right thing? All right, folks, what do you think?
No, P, you are not doing the right thing. Now, you were not obligated to make this and share this in the first place. And so, sure, technically you can take away the access, but your reasons here are what's putting you in the wrong. You are doing this to be petty and spiteful because they didn't go to your wedding.
OP made these notes on company time, with company resources and company assets. That means that these notes don't belong to OP. They belong to the company. And while OP has generously shared them with the rest of the coworkers, that doesn't mean that this is any less the company's. I don't think the company is going to look at this as OP's property, right? None of this is OP's intellectual property. This is all company policy and documentation. Just because you don't like somebody doesn't mean you can make their job harder, right? And OP needs to understand the separation between friends and coworkers. Not everybody wants to have a close friendship with their coworkers. Some people just want to check in and check out and get done with the day. And while they may have been flattered by the offer to go to your wedding, some people just don't want to go to a lot of extra weddings, right? Especially not with people they don't necessarily feel very close to.
Yeah, well, and also we don't know the circumstances too. Like they could have legitimate conflicts or have trouble scheduling childcare, any number of things. And so you can't guess any individual person's motives. Like it probably is true that a lot of them don't feel as close to OP as OP feels to them, but at the end of the day, it could be any number of reasons.
Yeah. So I don't think that OP is doing the right thing here. I think that they are really being immature, and they just need to get over this and, put this, and really, OP isn't necessarily the one at fault entirely here. The company has a bad document sharing policy, right? They should have some place where everybody stores documentation, and that documentation is available for everyone to use and access. At my company, we have a company page where people put information. You can search it. You can go through other people's notes, and it's all there. It's all with company information. And I mean, that's really, the company is failing if they don't have some way of sharing knowledge beyond people's Google Drives. So yeah, I mean, this should not be the case. This should not be flying. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. But folks, let's see what the Wheel of Judgment has to say. Wheel of judgment, turn, turn, turn. Tell us the judgment that OP's earned. Bernard the Unhinged is coming for you.
I mean, that does feel a little extreme, Wheel, don't you think?
Apparently not. And apparently we didn't turn the volume down. I don't know if that'll actually come through for them or not. You may hear some cheering and applauding from my computer because apparently it's very excited that Bernard the Unhinged is coming for this person. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Reporting My Coworker for Not Washing Patient Gowns? I am an X-ray tech at a private imaging center. Over 2 months ago, I was waiting in my room for a patient. Front desk staff are assigned to collect, wash, and fold patient gowns from imaging hampers. A front desk employee, R, came in, chatted naturally, and began folding dirty gowns straight out of the hamper onto my exam table. When I asked what she was doing, she said, if the gowns don't look dirty, I usually just fold them and put them back on the shelf. I kept my tone light, but I told her that was inappropriate. She groaned and claimed that she would wash them properly. Well, selfishly, I wanted to give her the benefit of the doubt and avoid stirring anything up and not jump to reporting her. So I checked the laundry area 20 minutes later, hoping that she was just saying those things, and it wasn't true. The gowns were already in the dryer. A coworker confirmed that she hadn't seen them in the washer and noted the custodian's dry mop head was still in the machine. Given the timeline, it was highly unlikely that R had actually run a full wash cycle, leaving me convinced that she bypassed the washing entirely. My license and duty to act dictate that I protect patients and report health code violations. I texted my boss detailing the incident, but kept R's name out of it as a courtesy. She said that she sent a reminder to all front desk staff, and I assumed the issue was handled. Well, fast forward 2 months to today. While parked outside of work waiting to clock in, R approached my car window, demanded to know what my beef with her was, and I explained that I was obligated to protect patients, my license, adding that I kept the report anonymous. She somehow deduced that it was me, likely after a management conversation or a group text. R argued that I should have followed her and watched her put them in the washer. I replied that babysitting wasn't my job. She claimed that I should have confronted her personally instead of reporting it. I pointed out that calling her out immediately was what I was doing exactly then. She then pivoted to personal attacks, claiming that a lot of people at work don't like me and talk about me. I recognized this as bait, but it hurt, and I tried to stay on topic. She backtracked, claiming that she was just talking garbage about not washing the gowns. I replied that standard logic does not support casually joking about health code violations while actively folding dirty gowns on an exam table. I reiterated my professional obligations. When the conversation kept spinning in circles, I stopped speaking and I rolled up my window. I texted my supervisor that I'm no longer feeling safe working with R. The situation escalated to her boss, who called me. She validated my actions, praised my positive patient reviews, and assured me that my coworkers haven't complained about me. She promised to separate our schedules, and she offered to adjust shift coverage for the day. She noted that while all the staff are needed, imaging techs are prioritized. Now I feel unsettled and shaken by her deception, aggressive confrontation, while my job feels caught in the middle. All right, folks, what do you think?
Absolutely not the jerk, OP. Like you said, this is a health and safety violation. It is your duty to make sure that patients receive clean gowns and that they're not exposed to potential pathogens or allergens.
Yeah, I mean, anything could be on another patient's skin. Like, they could have fungal infections, they could have, scabies, they could have, pubic lice, they could have any number of things that can crawl onto clothes, right? I don't know, how much of that stuff can survive on clothing, but personally, I would rather know when going into a hospital that the patient gowns are washed and sanitized before coming in contact with me, right? And the fact that she thought that it was appropriate to even joke about something like this, which I don't think it was a joke.
No.
I think OP caught her red-handed, shows that she just wasn't taking patient safety seriously, right? She could have been spreading, dangerous infections to people, right? And she doesn't seem concerned in the least about that. I feel bad for OP because this woman, confronted her and is trying to treat her very poorly and bullying her. So yeah, I don't blame OP for reporting her further. And OP didn't even say her name on the report. She just said, "Hey, can you send a reminder to wash stuff?" So it wasn't even like the R actually had been called out personally. So I don't know what her issue here is. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here. And Amber, she has a joke.
Why do fish live in salt water?
Uh, because all the freshwater lakes were, taken. I guess osmosis is probably the biggest reason why saltwater fish live in saltwater, because the salinity in their cells is high enough that it makes the water balance between the outside and inside. And if it wasn't, then it would be bad time. The cells would get more water in them because the fresh water is going to try to, invade the cells that have more salinity to them. And so the cells would expand, and it's not very good. So that's why.
Because pepper makes them sneeze.
I went with a very scientific explanation because I had no idea where that joke was going. And I have a special guest tea, some matcha. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy, wonderful Wednesday, Hump Day, Friday, Junior's Eve. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it haiku for Haiku Wednesday.
Pranks should be funny for everyone who is there. Otherwise, it's mean.
I like it. But thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.